For over 70 years, Sergeant Israel Ramos' family searched for any trace of the soldier who was declared missing in action during the Korean War. WENY's Alicia Solorzano spoke with Ramos' niece in Elmira about his journey home after finally being identified and how his family never gave up hope. Alicia.
Marcy, Sergeant Ramos' niece Lisa O'Connor is currently an Elks Lodge officer, helping to serve veterans here in Elmira. She said her willingness to help soldiers began as she grew up hearing endless stories about her uncle from her family. When officials exhumed, identified, and at long last brought his remains home, O'Connor and her family were shocked at the amount of support and recognition the military hero received at his service.
I would stare at his picture always. It was right in the hall as my grandmother would go into the kitchen, and I'd ask questions about him.
United States Army Sergeant First Class Israel Ramos was a soldier during the Korean War. At just 18 years old, Ramos was declared missing in action in 1950.
70 years, really, we've been trying to find a conclusion to what actually had happened.
It was later discovered that Ramos had died in combat near the Naktung River in South Korea. When intense fighting had subsided, members of the 565th Quartermaster Graves Registration Company came across 6 sets of remains. 2 soldiers were initially identified. 3 more were identified in 1956, but 1 remained unknown for decades.
For the last 74 years, my uncle was known as X328. And that's who he was until until June of 2021, and that's when we got the phone call.
My mother got a call about 6 months ago asking for her DNA. You know, that's all anybody has been saying, that it's a miracle.
For years, the family had collected newspaper clippings, photos, watched documentaries, anything that might give a clue about Ramos, never thinking it would come to this. After obtaining samples from Ramos' siblings and performing modern DNA tests, dental and anthropological analysis, and more, it was time for Sergeant Ramos to come home. Ramos received full military honors and more for his funeral service at the Calverton National Cemetery in Long Island on Friday. Local law enforcement, government officials, and Patriot Guard riders provided an escort.
It was insane, and we're all looking at each other and we're like, what is going on?
The family received letters, proclamations, medals, and more for their American hero. This even includes messages from President Biden and President Yoon Suk Yeol of South Korea. But for O'Connor, there was one item in their possession that held a great deal of importance.
My father had a blue bracelet, and it was made of tin. And it had my uncle's rank, name, and the date he went missing. And on the other side it said New York.
Her father wore the bracelet up until he passed, still searching and hoping his brother would be found. O'Connor kept it in her possession and decided with her family that it was time to bury it with her uncle.
To my aunt, and I said, can I give this to Uncle Israel? And she says, don't you want to keep it? And I said, why? He's been found. And now if I ever want to see him, I have a place to come and visit. And so with special permission, they put it with him.
Now that Sergeant Ramos is home, his family is feeling closure, along with many mixed emotions.
And we're still in shock, but we're all at peace. You know, we were sorry we were all wrong, because we really wanted him to be alive and out there. But we feel very blessed to have him home, and one of the very rare, lucky families to have our loved one return to us. Don't give up hope. They're out there. They may not be, alive as you want them, but please let people go. Let them continue to look, and hopefully we can bring home all our men and women out there. So continue on doing. Continue looking. Continue looking. Yeah.
Now that Ramos's family has closure, O'Connor says she wants to try to help others in her position at the Elmira Elks Lodge. With the connection she has made through getting her uncle home, she says she wants to pay it forward and help other families find peace too.